Hello, everyone. I see a few familiar faces, Stefana and Katrina. So I'm so excited you were able to get through. And then Joan, I'm new to you. So welcome to our Breakthrough Power Hour. I am super
Thank you.
excited. All right.
Thanks
So
for being
excellent. So today we're going to talk about authenticity. And this is not going to be a lecture. This is not about taking notes or some leadership training. Um, what what I would like to envision for us after this get together is to feel fully confident in showing up as our authentic selves, the truthful you. Because as Linda mentioned at the beginning, during the introduction to this workshop and Empower Hour, that when we show up as who we are, we become extremely magnetic. And especially working with Leadership Global, where we are bringing these amazing, powerful women, don't we want to feel this amazing pull towards us so that the people that we engage with, mentors, coaches, clients, prospects, they're exact vibrational match to who we are. So I hope you'll enjoy today. We're going to make it super interactive. We'll do a quick meditation activation to help you with your throat chakra, which is an energy center in your body that's responsible for your message that comes through. And then we'll do hot seat coaching. So when we hop to the coaching, we'll stop the recording so you can have full privacy for that. But first, I would like to focus on what authenticity is to me. And I'm going to share just my own version of it. To me, authenticity happens when my soul essence, that unique quality of who I am, pours freely and expansively through me. And what that means is that we first have to understand who are we at that level. Because as we grow up, we are exposed to so much conditioning, so many expectations from society, first from our parents, then external family, teachers, other students, that somewhere in the process of that journey, we may get lost or parts of us get uh, taken out or it's very dim instead of being extremely lit, if that comparison makes sense. So it is my intention for women that I work with to help them own the true self, own their passion, own their purpose, and own their essence. Because think about it, every single human being has unique fingerprints. We cannot find two people that are similar. Coincidentally, your iris in your eyes is like no other. So we could say that from the standpoint of creation of human being, whether you're looking to divinity or not, one fact is certain. There are no two people alike on this planet. And even if you think that, I'm turning into my mother, I'm turning into my father, um, partially, yes, but you still carry your unique purpose in this world. And when we start understanding that fact that we've been designed to own our path, own our journey, own our qualities, both weaknesses and strengths, then we cease to try to accommodate everybody else. And the liberation starts there. So I want to start with my personal story. I'm always very transparent with my clients and members of my community, the Athena Circle. I started in a very corporate career. think male-dominated construction, mining, and agriculture machinery. And combined with my Aries and Leo qualities, I was a complete global, no-nonsense businesswoman. You give me the numbers, I'm going to give you strategy in 10 minutes. You've got 5 million, you've got 10 million, where you want to expand, because I was in charge of global strategy. And I was holding my own with all these men and executives. I knew business, and I knew how to design expansion strategies for them. But I grew up in a family of energy healers, intuitive empaths, herbalists, naturopaths, people who are tuned in, where their intuition, recognition, telepathic abilities, psychic abilities are quite developed. So it was just a matter of time before my soul pulled me back. Now imagine one day waking up and realizing that what I've been doing up to this point, globetrotting and helping American manufacturers export their products overseas, was not the ultimate path, the ultimate journey. And I, in the moment of divine inspiration, downloaded a modality called the triple quantum reset that helps me help my clients release what's holding them back. We can say that in that moment, I did a 180-degree switch and went from this no-nonsense global consulting into mentorship that includes energy healing, emotional release, and neuroplasticity, helping people rewire their brain. Now, that day when I had to change my description on LinkedIn, I was really scared. First, I thought people would think I lost it. I'm just became one of those woo-woo women. With me, probably woo squared, because one woo was not enough to cover this personality, right? And I thought that I'm just going to erase 20 years of solid global accomplishment and recognition. It was daunting, and I felt so uncomfortable. But I knew that there is a reason why my voice needs to do this pivotal shift. I knew that there was a bigger purpose behind what I was doing, and that purpose could not be fulfilled while selling tractors, combines, and cranes. So I took a leap of faith, and I started Unlock Your Success mentorship programs to help business owners push past their limitations. And I gave myself permission to start showing up in a different way. And yes, it was very unnerving, jarring. There were days when I questioned myself. But today, what I'm going to invite all of you is to look at your life, look at your purpose, look at the embodiment of that higher power within you, and to realize that when you show up fully, your magnetism increases, because alignment with who you are already, without creating a face mask, creates this magnetic attraction point between you and your clients. And as far as business goes, the fastest way to grow it is to become full expression of who you are, as you are, what you are, and who you are. We as people live in a vibrational universe, and whether you do it consciously or not, we're constantly scanning each other, and we're looking for a way to connect. We fit like a key and a lock. And when a business owner puts a marketing message that is somebody else's, because maybe there was a marketing agency that did not understand who you are. Now we are sending a radio signal that's singing classical music while you like pop. So you end up attracting clients that resonate with classical music. They come to you and they're confused. So they don't stay long term with you. They disappear or they buy a small initial offer and they don't take the next step with you. And they can't quite explain why, because they were initially attracted. But we cannot hide who we are. Vibrationally, we are always authentic. So a marketing message that is misaligned will only give you initial results. My clients have been around me since 2015. Can you imagine? And they're still working with me. One of the reasons I created Athena Circle is because I needed a community for people who just wanted to hang around. They wanted to keep working with me on expanding. So we created this community where they could come in and still resonate. So a lot of my clients come in and say, it is so unsafe to put yourself out there, whether you are a podcaster, a YouTuber, maybe you write articles. So let's talk about why it feels so unsafe to be you in various situations. Well, the biggest problem is stemming from cave times and before. I call it tribal consciousness. So if you think back when we were just evolving as human beings, the environment was very unsafe. You could leave the cave and be eaten by some predatory animal like a tiger or a jaguar or stomped over by an elephant. But when you were in a group, the chance for your survival increased. So very early in our evolution, we learned that fitting in, blending in, increases our chances for safety and survival. Now, today, in 2024, on the brink of 2025, there is no tiger coming out to get us. But how much of that tribal consciousness is still running in the back of our head, controlling how we show up? So the fear of rejection and judgment is one of the reasons we don't show up authentically. What if I tell people that I've got this modality and they will think that she's a little bit crazy? Well, I like my crazy. Do you? Do you like your crazy? Because when we own who we are, magic starts unfolding. We find just the right tribe. And when they come into our circle, they stick around because they know who you are. When they were signing up, they already saw you as you are. And they said, I like it. I like who Stefana is. I like how Joan is explaining things. I like what Kachina is teaching. So are you giving yourself permission to show up in your business fully? There are people who are afraid to write a book because there's going to be evaluation, judgment, expectation, right? There is a fear of being an imposter. I don't really know what I know, and I'm not sure if I know what I know. And then I'm going to write a book, and somebody will come to me and say, "You don't really know what you know," right? So you've got this fear of being caught in something that you might not be expert on. There's also fear of being too much or too little. What if I show up as I am and they will say, you need to chill a little bit. You've got too vivacious personality for us. We're toned down here, right? What if there is a fear of change? Because when you start accepting who you are at that deep soul level, your intuition, which is the voice of your soul, will start asking you to do things you've never wanted to do. So for me, what happened, I was literally directed to start doing interviews on radio, on TV, on podcast summits, and I was really uncomfortable at that time. In fact, I dreaded it. But this was non-negotiable because my soul lives on purpose and it needs to take my message out to the world. So I have to be speaking. So the fear of change, when you start showing up authentically, simply means I'm gonna expand beyond my imagination. I'll be doing things I've never done before because that little voice that says you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, is gonna diminish the more I allow myself to stand in the power of who I am. And remember, you're not supposed to serve everyone. When you ask business owners and they say, who's your client? And they say, pretty much everyone, every business owner, right? For Mary Kay, everybody with a scheme. No, you're not supposed to work with everyone. You're supposed to magnetically attract people who are right vibrational match for you. It's that lock and a key. And the only way for these clients to find you, these perfect clients for you, is for you to show up as who you are. So think about them for a moment. When you write your messages, when you make your phone calls, prospecting phone calls, when you're on a podcast, when you're recording a YouTube video, do you give yourself permission to be 100% you? Or is the part of you that's hiding? And why is it hiding? And that brings us to judgment. Most people will say that they are afraid of other people judging them. And that is partially true. The truth is that we project onto others that which is unhealed within ourselves. So if we're afraid of somebody else judging us, it's because we are already judging ourselves. So what are you judging yourself for? When people say, I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough, that is your self-judgment that you self-imposed. And now you're afraid that somebody else will notice what you already feel inside. But here's another magic that happens when you become super authentic. People stop judging you. You know why? They're busy listening to you. And when you don't judge yourself, you can't attract judgment in others because there is no vibrational match. That doesn't mean that you cannot improve, but I'm talking about creating a circumstance where it's okay to be you. So I'll give you an example. You would think that switching from this very corporate environment in a global business to a more metaphysical space would create a lot of backlash for me in my career. But imagine this, people that I used to work with started commenting on LinkedIn, how they like my articles, how they love what I'm doing. It was amazing. One president of 4 different companies in construction machinery personally complimented me. So it turns out all these fears before I made that switch were completely unfounded. It was all in my head. Once I reconciled and I decided to take that leap of faith, any resistance disappeared. So let's say you're making your podcast episode or your YouTube episode, or you're writing a book, and you start wondering, what will others think about me? Is it perfect? Is it exactly the way it should be? Well, let's take a moment. How many of you actually love perfection? You know, that woman that walks into a room and she's just so perfect. She's perfectly dressed. Her hair is the best ever. She speaks with the best accent. She knows exactly what to say. She knows which napkin goes with what. And in 10 different forks at the table, she knows exactly which one to use for which dish. And I could go on and on. Do you like that person? You want to be that person? Tell me in the chat. Joan, you want to be that person?
Yes.
Okay. Kudos to you. Go for it.
I feel like sometimes our flaws are perceived flaws, and our shortcomings, our liabilities are actually what bonds people together. It's actually what makes you relatable. It's what makes you believable, relatable, trustworthy, knowing that you are putting forth your best effort. But listen, you're going to get it wrong sometimes. That makes it feel much more like, oh, good, this is someone who's going to probably extend grace to me when I make a mistake too. And we'll be on the journey together of learning through our mistakes and learning about our missteps. And this is someone that I trust and I respect because they are really open and honest about all the missteps. They are really open and honest about all the failures. And to me, that creates immediate intimacy and a level of trust that is much harder to achieve if you're perfect, because you're a whole lot less relatable.
Yeah, turns out, first of all, from the standpoint of quantum physics, there's no such thing as perfection because the universe is constantly expanding. So it's based on this on this never-ending loop, which loop gets bigger and bigger, but also smaller and smaller. So there's no beginning and no end to this universe. That's from pure physics. Perfection is a destination in a universe that does not have one. So even perfection is a self-judgment because what might be perfect for one person might be just the beginning for another, right? But again, coming back to who are we? We are this compilation of every strength and weakness, every positive character, maybe negative quality. It's okay. That's what makes us human. Welcome to planet Earth. Yeah, we're all earthlings here. So letting go of that self-judgment allows us to tap into the soul essence and start asking better questions. So a lot of time in when we put out the messaging, whether it's marketing or your content, we try to figure out what does the person want to hear, and it's a valid question. But before you go there, focus on your message. So I'll give you an example. I had a client who was really afraid of being a speaker. She was so passionate, and she had such a big mission in this life to help women overcome shame. But she was a little bit overweight, and every time she got on a stage, all she could think was about her weight and how she would be judged. So one day in our coaching session, and I'm going to call her Mary. Her name is not Mary, but we're going to just give her a name Mary for confidentiality purposes. I said, Mary, what's more important, you or your message? Because your message comes from your soul, and there is much bigger purpose to the words that you're sharing with the world. Could you worry less about the messenger and focus on the impact that your words are carrying for this consciousness, for humanity, for the women that you want to serve? You see, when we make it about the goal, the intent of why we show up in the world, then it becomes less important if your makeup is perfect, if your clothing is on point, if your roots are showing. It simply becomes about, why am I here? What am I trying to accomplish? Why am I showing up in this way? We are just messengers. And if you think about FedEx guys, as cute as they are in those uniforms, they only entertain you maybe for 30 seconds while they deliver the package. And it's a good 30 seconds, I tell you, right? But then they're gone. And just as fast as they came in, they left. But what they delivered, the gift, stays with you forever. So when you focus on your message, on why you are here, knowing that you are the message that has been divinely designed in its perfection of all its imperfections, then you stop fighting yourself. You even stop fighting God because you are divinely engineered for success. And all those things that you perceive flaws are just a cog in a wheel that keeps it turning, that keeps expanding you. And all you have to keep asking yourself, who am I? And give yourself full permission to keep exploring that in your writing, in your marketing messages, in your conversations with other people, so that they can magnetically look at you and say, I love who Stefana is. She's so embodying her essence. What would my life look like if I give myself permission to be fully me? As an example, right? All right. So what I would like to do is ask you a few questions, and then we'll open it for a conversation before we go to hot seats. My first question to you is to look at the authentic and non-authentic side and see which one feels better. So think for a moment, when was an experience in your life or business where you felt compelled to be different to fit in with somebody else? It could be a group, it could be society, it could be culture, it could be a religious belief. How did it feel to know that you have to change, that somehow you have to make yourself more or make yourself less just to be accepted? Would anyone like to share?
Oh, I can share.
Go ahead.
Every day I go to work. I work in a very conservative environment. I work in an investment bank. Male dominated. They are all, I don't know what, monotone. They all wear the same brown color, gray color. Nobody gets overexcited when they achieve something freaking awesome. Nobody gets excited. Everything is the same. I did $100 million deal, or I stubbed my toe, you get the same reaction. I am a marketer. I'm the chief marketing officer there. I am not anything like that. So I am probably louder than anyone. I'm exuberant. I use my hands a lot. But when you're in an environment like that, also, there's only two other women in the company. It's a small company, but I know that I can't walk into the room like I normally would, because and sometimes I do just to do it. But the reaction is like you said earlier, like, oh my God, what's wrong with her? And I look at them and say, what's wrong with you? Can you get a little excited? And which I do say at times. So, and it feels crummy that I can't be myself every single day.
Thank you for sharing and for being the first one to share. And here's what I would recommend. And we've got a question. How do you find the authentic self? Are there exercises or a process? Yes, I'll be sharing those with you. But to come back to Joan, I would call it increase the doses incrementally. We can actually condition people for a response, meaning we don't want to bulldozer anyone. but we have the right to be who we are. See, I have one of the reasons authenticity is so dear to my heart is because I watched my incredibly talented friend who's a marketing specialist being shut down by a company that hired her. And she truly liberated herself from that experience. You see, my friend is very gorgeous and she loves to color her hair in neon colors. 1 month it's neon blue, then it's neon green, then it's neon red. And I have to tell you, she looks amazing in all of them. And I have a neon jealousy because if I look that good in neon green, you bet I would be having it. But I loved watching at everything that she was doing because she was incredibly creative and she still is. And that hair was just a natural extension of this brain that just sees possibilities and solutions and outcomes. I mean, it's just such an expanded state of being. And then she gets hired by a company that tells her a week after being hired, you'll have to lose your hair. We cannot allow this kind of color to be part of our brand. When I heard that, my heart sunk because I was thinking, she's hired for the genius that she is, that externally is projected through this vivacious look. And the first thing they ask her to do is to shut down her genius. But guess what she did? She turned in her 2-week notice and asked them if they want to wait 2 weeks or she can quit right away. And I think this is a reminder to all of us that, at certain point, we have to stand our ground. I'll give you another example. I hired a public relations company that said that, you know what, we're going to rebrand you. Unlock Your Success is a boring name and everything about you is pretty much boring. So we're going to give you this, we're going to amp you up. We're going to make you a star. And we started having conversations and I realized that this person that I hired knows absolutely nothing about me. And 5, 6 sessions into it, they still don't know anything about me. And by the time they suggested something finally, it was so far away from who I am that I said, thank you, no thank you. And they got really pissed at me. Sorry for the language. But I knew that I have to be me and that I have to come across to my clients, not what their concept of me is, because that has a limitation placed on it. When we don't show up as who we are, sooner or later, people will see through that and it will start dropping off. So I chose me. And that was an exercise in, or my test by my soul. Will I stand in who I am? Or will I succumb to the pressure? So sometimes we really have to give ourselves permission to say, I've got the boundary. And the boundary means that I am who I am. I'm not perfect. I am always expanding, growing, evolving in this universe of beauty. And I will never stop. But I cannot become who you want me to be because I would be inauthentic. And in that process, I would be inspiring you to hide from who you are. So especially when we work with other people, we model to them how trustworthy we are, how willing we are to say, this is who I am, and I stand in it. I stand in the power of it. So let me first open it to the group and ask what's resonating right now. Is it resonating? What's percolating as we're talking about this? You're still here, so you must enjoy it somehow.
Well, there's some really good notes in the chat, right? So Kachina said, this is really resonating with her struggles with visibility. The irony is that her video isn't working for this call. As we just noted, there's all kinds of tech issues right now with Microsoft. So she has to hide. But actually, I got to tell you, Kachina, that actually surprises me because I think of you as being so incredibly well spoken, so elegant, and so knowledgeable. I mean, I think that you would be an incredible dynamic facilitator, moderator, teacher, trainer, coach for business anywhere. So I'm surprised to hear that you struggle with visibility. That's interesting. But Dagmar, to your point, that really resonated with Kachina, that idea, it sounds like.
Wonderful. So
and then Stefana said, I think knowing yourself first is the key. So knowing yourself and really understanding what is authentic for you, understanding truly what your principles and priorities are, what your values are, and really how you want to step into your power and be seen in this world, right? So what you're, for me, I'm now adding to what Stefana said, but for me, it's really understanding what do I want to be associated with in terms of my principles, my practices, my values? How do I want my reputation to be cultivated and created based on my actions, right? Based on what I do, what I say. If there's alignment between my belief systems, my words, my actions, what does that say about me? What do I want to communicate about me? And I think understanding that, really getting a deep sense of who you are, almost auditing sort of what you want to be known for, also helps you as maybe the first step in developing authenticity. I'm adding that to what Stefana said, but Stefana said there is a lot to this, right? And knowing who you are is key.
And I see here, that's also from Stefana. That's where I get a bit hung up because I do enter into business backwards. But when I show up and serve authentically, clients naturally hire me. Exactly. So let's talk about some of these processes that you can use to start showing up more and more authentically. First one is start with daily affirmations. I am enough. The truth is, you are. Every single human being on this planet is divinely designed. It's every single human being has a soul. That means there's higher power to the reason why we're on this planet. That makes you automatically enough. If you were not enough, you wouldn't have a soul. You wouldn't exist. So start by reminding yourself that there is the purpose behind your existence that makes you automatically worthy and enough. Number two is I want to give you a practical tool to calm your nervous system, especially when you're showing up, when you're about to hit and publish your article or get on YouTube Live or Facebook Live or show up in any way. It's called peripheral vision. So what happens is that when we get stressed out, the portion of your brain is to narrow down the focus because the danger is right in front of us. And the way the brain controls the danger by narrowly focusing on what's in front of me so I can escape it, okay? But that actually also activates our limbic system, the dreadful amygdala, which keeps us hijacked. It's looping the danger over and over again. So the prefrontal cortex shuts down. It can't think because we're just like, tiger, tiger, tiger. I'm about to get on a stage and there are 10,000 tigers ready to leap onto me. So what we do is we activate peripheral vision. Now your eye has 180-degree viewpoint, actually a little bit more. And your eye socket always registers the entire angle, except once it sends it to the processing center skips the side and focuses on danger ahead. So we're looping. So we need to expand the vision, and force the brain to take all the data in. Okay? And the way we're going to do it is by activating our evolutionarily designed monitoring of movement. So have you noticed that when you go on a street and nothing's happening, suddenly the cat is running across, you immediately notice? Again, it was designed by evolution to keep you alive. So everyone do it with me. Extend your hands as much forward as you can and start wiggling your fingers. And now very slowly, you're gonna keep expanding them. Your left eye will be following moving fingers on the left, while your right eye will be following the right fingers. Now you have to keep moving them so that you activate the peripheral vision. So you're gonna essentially extend it all the way out and wiggling. And now you're gonna relax your central vision because you can look to the center while looking to the left and to the right. So relax your center vision. Try with the left eye, you focus on the left hand. With the right eye, you're focusing on the right hand. Nice deep inhale through the nose, exhale with your mouth open. What that does is releases tension and immediately changes your brainwave from beta to alpha. This is an incredible trick to do when you're about to go on a stage and speak, get on a podcast, when you're afraid about anything at all. Just keep stretching your peripheral vision and hold this on the side, fully extended, but Zoom can show it. So I'm just, you're fully extended, arm's length, and you keep wiggling, left looking to the left, right looking to the right. You can even practice how far you can go, and you'll see I'm still seeing my fingers. I'm past 180. That's why I said peripheral vision is amazing. With time, you start activating your third eye and start seeing what's behind you, but that's another program. So calming your nervous system allows you to realize that there is no danger. Just because after this presentation, John, Kachina, Stefana, whoever else here might think, that sucked. It's okay. I'm still alive. I will be alive. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'll just try to be better next time, right? So we have to remove how much power, how much importance we give away to others people's perception of us. Take that power back. Number 3, suspend expectation. A lot of times when my clients say, you know, Dagmar, I want to write a book, but I'm really afraid. I don't know if they're going to like it. You know, will I get the best-selling status? What if it's a flop? You know, everybody will laugh at me. Why don't you just relax and let the outcome be the outcome? Put it to the universe what your desire is, and then let it go. Because again, your message is more important than the messenger. The book is there to deliver a message to the right people who should read it, not to those that should not. And if some random person got hold of your book and did not resonate with it, it is 100% okay. They were not meant for it. Your book, your podcast, your website is just for the right people that say, she's my person. These are the only ones you want to work with, by the way. Why would you bother with the ones that don't want to, that don't resonate with who you are? That's just uphill battle. There's so much abundance in the universe, so many clients and prospects. Why would you bother with those that don't like the way you are, right? Pointless. I also invite you to do daily journaling and ask yourself this question: what truth do I need to express today to live more authentically, or to live in comfort with who I am, with comfort, joy, and peace of being who I am? So what needs to be expressed today? What's still hiding? You see, when I started writing articles for Success Unlocked newsletter, which I invite you to subscribe to on LinkedIn, I knew exactly how I wanted to sound. I wanted to sound like I'm speaking to women who are jazzy and fun, but they're also business badasses, but they are also spiritual. They've got this spiritual gangster type of mentality where we're like, what's the law of attraction? How can I grab it by the tail and use it for my business so I create exponential result? So I give myself that voice, which is me, and I'm unapologetic about it. If you don't like it, I am 100% okay with that. I appreciate that you stopped by. I need to be me. It is non-negotiable because the only way to fulfill my purpose is for the soul to pour through this vessel in this unique combination that no one can ever replicate. So why would I fight the infrastructure that is God-given? So I hope that this serves as some inspiration today for showing up fully. Now let's hop into our hot seats and work on challenges that you may be feeling. So think about maybe when you're about to be speaking, what's going through your mind? Is it the topics that you cover in your podcast that sometimes you're afraid to go into? Is it perhaps just how you are in the groups? Is it your brand that you feel that you're following somebody else's concept instead of true, authentically you? What is it that you feel is not showing up fully? So, very open question so that we can help you get confidence and clarity about who you are and the power of showing up in your qualities and essence.